Good day. I am Jamie Dollentas and I will be presenting my study entitled Solid Waste Management Practices of Senior High School Science Teachers. All over the world, waste generation rates are rising. In 2020, the world was estimated to generate 2.24 billion tons of solid waste, amounting to a footprint of 0.79 kilograms per person per day. With urbanization and population explosion, annual waste that is being generated is expected to increase by 73% from 2020 levels to 3.38 billion tons in 2050. This is according to Chavez in 2019. One strategic approach to address this environmental problem is through solid waste management. Waste management is needed to reduce or mitigate the mounting global crisis on waste, which endangers humanity, pollutes the environment, and damages communities. In particular, according to Ramadin et al. In 2015, solid waste management is a form of waste control often associated with storage, collection, transport, process, and disposal of solid waste following quality standard of conservation, public health, engineering, economics, and other environmental concerns. In relation, the Philippines Republic Act No. 9003 or Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000 is an act established to provide an ecological solid waste management program, creating the necessary institutional mechanisms and incentives. It also declares certain acts prohibited and providing penalties, appropriating funds on solid waste management. Relevant to this idea, RA 9003 mandates the stronger integration in the academic curricula of formal and non-formal education of ecological solid waste management and resource conservation recovery topics to promote environmental awareness and action among the citizenry. Given this context, educational institutions play a vital role in this environmental education. Their educational programs and activities are potent means to raise awareness among the members of the academic community about this pressing environmental issue and to take active roles in the protection and care of the environment of our common home. The Department of Education's Environmental Codes of Practice was developed to support teacher effectiveness and competencies enhancement project by providing direction for proper management and disposal as part of good environmental practice and in compliance with environmental laws and regulations. This study was conducted at Gallanosa National High School in Irosin, Sorsogon. It is the biggest public secondary school of the division of the province of Sorsogon. This study aimed to determine the solid waste management practices of senior high school science teachers in Gallanosa National High School. Specifically, this answered the demographic profile of senior high school science teachers in terms of age, sex, highest level of education, baccalaureate degree, position, years in service, subjects being taught, and trainings attended in relation to SWM. Next, it aimed to explain the solid waste management measures of the respondents along awareness, practices, and attitude. Third, it identified the solid waste in terms of types, amount of waste generated daily, and school intervention on SWM. And lastly, it suggests and enumerated best practices in SWM in schools. This study is a qualitative study through an in-person structured interview to 9 senior high school science teachers identified using total enumeration. The instruments used were interview guide using open-ended questions, a mobile phone with recorder, subject to the approval of the respondents. Data were gathered by asking for approval from the school authorities through a letter, and an informed consent was presented to the participants. The interview was conducted in person in school house to house, and through Google Form. The purpose of the study was clarified, confidentiality was ensured, and participants and their answers on the questions were analyzed, coded, consolidated, ranked, and interpreted. This portion shows the demographic profile of the respondents. The table showed that in this study, a total of 9 junior high school science teachers for the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics strand had participated, out of which 3 were male and 6 were female. 1 out of 9 has master's units, 3 have completed academic requirements for a master's degree, while only 1 is a master's graduate. Along the doctoral level, 3 have acquired units and 2 were complete academic requirement certificate holders. All respondents have science-related baccalaureate degrees and mostly are Teacher 3 with 0 to 10 years of experience. The subjects taught were physical science, practical research, general biology, general chemistry, earth science, earth and life science, and disaster readiness and risk reduction. Only 1 participant has an updated training related to waste management within the past 3 years. Overall, the teachers were aware with the abiding government policy of RA 9003 on solid waste management. This was evidenced by the positive responses of the respondents. Similar responses from 4 participants were recorded that their idea about the law is that it is the act that contains the ways to practice solid waste management system and prohibits the act of throwing garbage in improper places. 4 responded that they were not quite sure about the implementing rules and regulations of the law, while only 1 answered that he really does not know as he or she haven't read it in detail. 8 participants were similarly incorporating SWM discussions in their respective classes as part of curriculum instructions, although 1 responded negatively due to the very limited time and lack of idea on how to insert the topic on the subject he handles. The participants' awareness, however, towards MRF was very low and all responded that there is lack of MRF in the school. They believe that this may be attributed to the absence of MRF facility and zero awareness programs in both their communities and school during school lockdowns. Similarly, 5 of them were aware on the e-waste and only 1 being unaware, and 3 were not sure, as they have mentioned, that due to the absence of trainings because of the pandemic, they believe that they need a sort of refresher training on the topic. Findings can also be associated with little trainings attended about SWM of only 1 out of 9 participants. They answered that their trainings were not updated and not related to SWM. The result supports the previous findings of the study of Cultura et al. In 2013 that an awareness about e-waste disposal is due to the absence of collection mechanism. Similarly, an awareness to SWM and MRF may be due to the lack of facility both in the school and the community. This section presents the attitude towards SWM. It shows the perception of the respondents on SWM in schools and their impact to teachers, students, and school administrators. All of the participants recognize that improper waste disposal is a threat to the environment. They all agreed as well that poor waste disposal is causing a serious health problem to students, teachers, and school management in schools. Respondent 2 is a nurse and teacher who believed that cases of waterborne and airborne and also vector-borne diseases were all caused by unsanitary environment and surroundings. Sufficiently, most of the participants perceived that SWM is not just the sole responsibility of the school and the local authority. They generally agreed that they similarly have a responsibility on SWM and to minimize solid waste generation. They expressed that their roles as science teachers are important and they are expected to incorporate or integrate to their lessons and help inculcate to the students love for the environment. The result of this study is consistent with the study of Seo in 2006 who asserted that poor waste disposal Management activities in senior high schools can bring about increased disease transmission or otherwise threaten students, teachers, and school management and other people working in the school. Furthermore, the result is consistent with the study of Owusu in 2014, who hypothesized that improper solid waste management causes air, soil, and water pollution. The problem of solid waste is a very serious problem in third world countries. This portion shows the practices of the participants on solid waste management in school. All teachers were found to reduce their waste generation. However, this commitment differed with existing practices. Teachers have waste bins in their classrooms as a requirement for the limited face-to-face classes for the previous year. Majority of the teachers practice segregation of school waste, but recycling was not properly practiced due to lack of knowledge and numerous school tasks. Throwing outside the school perimeter and burning are being practiced as disposal methods. Another participant mentioned that he or she was a non-class advisor. This implies that this may be caused by teachers who are not equipped with the latest trainings and lack of trainings and seminars on the latest and updated ways on the SWM or 4Rs. Also, recycling was not practiced as they are time-consuming and teachers are bombarded with numerous tasks in school. Present result is in contrary to the study of Mala Kamad et al. In 2010 that the presence of appropriate waste bins in schools encourage better recycling behavior. To extrapolate, this portion shows the result of the questions along types of waste, amount of waste, and waste disposal practices in school. It was evident in Table 3.1 that school waste generated in schools were mainly plastics, papers, food waste, and polyethylene or PET bottles. Present result was in agreement with waste characterization studies in the Philippines, revealing plastics and papers as dominant solid waste. That is according to Paul et al. In 2012 and Galarpe and Parilla in 2014. Along the estimated amount of waste generated daily, as shown on the table, the perceived amount of school waste in school were above 10 kilograms daily, followed by 5 to 10 kilograms and 0 to 5 kilograms. This volume of waste may be expected due to the large population of teachers and students in the school, according to the participants. The participants responded that throwing outside the school or municipal dump site and some instances of burning waste were observed for waste disposal of the general school waste. Further, composting of school waste ranked last along with recycling as disposal method. Composting activities is mandated to the greening program of DepEd through DepEd Memorandum No. 58 series of 2011, mandating the creation of the Task Force on National Greening Program by establishing school gardens. In addition, throwing of school waste outside school perimeters will result to litter and spillages in schools. That is according to Elimil and Benjamin in 2011. Overall, the mandate of RA 9003 and DepEd policy frameworks on solid waste management were marginally implemented in Galianosa National High School. This was evidenced by the responses of science teachers, positive level of awareness, attitude, and practices towards solid waste management. The ocular inspection to the schools similarly confirmed the teachers' responses. All of the classrooms have 3 separate waste bins for biodegradable, non-biodegradable, and infectious waste. However, only selective classroom advisors were able to practice SWM better in terms of the integration of recycling and composting. Despite the available alternative SWM option, it was evident that MRF were absent. Present findings may be used as the basis for policymaking to ensure enforcement of RA 9003 in Galianosa National High School and other public secondary schools. In light of the prior conclusion, the following recommendations were given. Trainings and workshops on SWM and 4Rs, Eco Center, recycling bins and MRF, and composting facility. 1 hour per month devoted to cleaning and greening program or Earth Hour, implementation and participation of related activities such as tree planting and school cleanup drives, activation and organization of student-based organizations such as YESO, to primarily act as environmental stewards in respective schools to promote environmental awareness, which includes SWM. Expanded IEC materials through signages and posters to encourage the practice of proper SWM, strengthening the curriculum instruction integration across all levels, proper coordination with the local government unit for the regular collection of non-recyclable wastes. Here are the appendices and the references. Thank you and God bless us all.